All right. Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Khaldun Swice from Logically Faithful. Today, my topic is truth. How do we analyze it? What I'm going to do is discuss it with you theologically, psychologically, philosophically, and hopefully some insights into our current paradigm right now. All right, so there's an old story that's told about two men who are in a hospital room together. One man, they talk about their lives together, they engage each other. They discuss their wives, their kids, their grandkids, what they've done, how they think they're failures in life, or what they have achieved and hope to still achieve. Every evening, the man closer to the window would tell his friend about what he would see outside. He would see ducks, he would see geese, he would see children playing, he would see the beautiful skyline and the wonder of the sunset. He would describe it in explicit detail, mothers walking with their little carts with the little children behind them, also carrying little toy carts. And it was fascinating the way he saw this and the way he explained it to his friend, what he saw and the wonder outside. One day his friend died. So the man asked to be moved closer to the window. When he did, he finally propped himself up and looked outside, and he saw nothing but a brick wall. He asked about the nature of his friend, the man who was next to him, and they told him that he was blind. See, the concept of truth is a paramount question for all of us. Is the information that I've been given about the coronavirus, about my God, about my political system, about what I eat, about the person I'm married to, or the person I want to marry, are these things actually true? Or are they the concoctions of some believers and non-believers and people who try to manipulate the system and try to get me for all I'm worth? So an important question. Are they actually blind in their own insights, epistemologically speaking, spiritually speaking? Are they actually seeing a brick wall and telling me the falsehood? Or are they seeing something they think is actually true and conveying it to me? Well, before we even get to that question, we need to ask a more fundamental question. The question is, what actually is truth? So hopefully you'll walk along with me on this journey and we'll get into some of the details behind that. See, in the first century, Jesus of Nazareth was taken before Pontius Pilate, the fifth governor of the Roman province of Judea, serving under the Emperor Tiberius in about 26 to 27 BC, for crimes against the state. Now, Pilate said, "I find nothing wrong with this man," Luke 23:4. But because of popular opinion, he handed him over to be crucified and ultimately killed. But before Pilate did that, Pilate asked him the infamous question, which is recorded to us in the Gospel of John, chapter 18, verse 38. What is truth? Now, unbeknownst to Pilate, Jesus himself actually claimed to be the truth incarnate, but I'll get to that later. But for now, let's ask the question, what is truth? Now, there are a variety of different questions and how we're going to approach this. I'm going to approach it in a systematic fashion and try to analyze how we would come across this issue and to break it down into its different parts and to see the different aspects of it. So there are different theories out there. There are good books out there. I recommend those to you. I'll put those in the show notes from Cambridge University Press, Princeton University, Oxford, etc., on the concept of truth. So there's a popular video, and I'll also put a link there for you, by Shiva Baba. And the video actually talks about the concept of truth, spiritually speaking. It's a truth theory called relativism. See, relativism is a theory of truth that basically says there is no one underlying objective reality out there that we all can subscribe to. There's no numinous, there's no objective sense of the world around us that we can all know. So that's relativistic point of view of truth. It's actually the truth that there is no truth, basically. The problem with this point of view, of course, ladies and gentlemen, is that it cuts its own philosophical throat. It's like me telling you, I cannot speak a word of English. It's a contradiction, and contradictions, by definition, are false. I cannot communicate to you on videos. I cannot use this particular platform. Well, I just did. So, or ما بحكي عربي, or nous verbes romaneste, or nous parlez Nous parlez français, French. How you say it in French? I don't speak French. Nous parlez Francois. Anyway, we'll cut that out. So saying that there is no truth is itself a truth claim, and therefore it cuts its own throat. The basic problem with the root of relativism is that one of contradiction itself. Relativism is a position that's very popular in popular culture. It's a basic position that's used in ethics and in religion that say there's no one view or no one right religion or no one view of ethics that we should all subscribe to. It's an unproven assumption because the person making the claim actually thinks they're right. They think they're telling you the truth. And if they think they're telling you the truth, then they contradict themselves. To say anything is permissible is this problem because you would think to yourself that that thing you just made, that claim, is itself permissible. That means anything is permissible is itself a truth claim. It's problematic. Ravi Zacharias gives the example of walking in front of a bus. It's either you or the bus, not both of you. It can't be both of you. See, there's different levels of the concepts of truth in that regard. You need to be able to think these through. Now, what Ravi Zacharias talks about and a bunch of other apologists and as well as philosophers is called the law of non-contradiction, or the either-or logic. See, there's laws within logic called the law of excluded middle and the law of non-contradiction that I talked about. Basically, the law of non-contradiction says that no proposition can be both true and false at the same time and in the same relation. And the law of excluded middle basically says that every proposition is either true or false. So either I'm a man or I'm not a man. Either I'm having this video conversation with you or I'm not having this video conversation with you. It can be both. This is a black and white view of truth, and there's a lot of truth to it. So either your wife is pregnant or she's not pregnant. She can't be pregnant and not pregnant at the same time and in the same relation. That itself is a contradiction. And as I said earlier, a contradiction, by definition, is false. However, the plot thickens. It gets complicated. See, consider what's called in philosophical terminology, Immanuel Kant talked about it in his Critique of Pure Reason in 1781. It's called the noumena. So the noumena is the idea that true reality is beyond our epistemological grasp. We cannot, let me repeat, we cannot understand and see the world as it is. We can't. We only have the noumena, a world outside of us that is experienced by our senses, by our mind, called the phenomena. There's a phenomenological area of philosophy where you study phenomena. Those are the only things that we can study, is our experiences of those and the experiences of others of those. For example, my experience of my phone, I'm holding it, I'm feeling it, but then again, those are sensory receptors that are given to it, my mind, by my fingers and by my neural correlates of the brain, analyzing the different details of that and how that really reacts to my sense experience. So seeing the thing in itself, such as your friends, your family, you don't actually see them. You see the images that are portrayed by their bodies on the light receptors of your cortex. So seeing the real thing itself is impossible, according to Immanuel Kant. There's a lot of truth to that. Take, for example, the fact that I'm looking out my window right now. I see I see buildings, I see trees, I see cars, I see grass. But what I don't see is the movement of the earth at approximately 1,000 miles per hour every 24-hour period. This is the rotation of the earth, but I cannot see it. Now, merely because I cannot see it doesn't mean it's not happening. Or, for example, if I would take a look at knafe, which is one of my favorite meals, or let's say a strawberry cheesecake, for example. If somebody makes me a strawberry cheesecake, let's say a baker, he hands me a slice of it. It tastes like cheesecake. It feels like cheesecake. It smells like cheesecake. My senses are clear and distinct, and I don't have any narcotics in my body telling me otherwise. The baker happens to be an honest man. Well, then I can assume logically that I'm actually eating a cheesecake. But I can't actually see or feel the actual cheesecake itself. All I have are my experiences of it. And I think I'm logically justified in believing that I'm actually eating a cheesecake because of all the evidence and the corroborating evidence around that. However, let's go deeper. Inside the actual cheesecake itself, if you're a cook or a baker, unlike me, you'll know that there are about 3 to 8 ounces of block cheese, softeners, sugar, eggs, sour cream, vanilla extract, lemon zest, etc., that make up a cheesecake. Don't forget the crust and etc. You need that as well as strawberries and strawberry preserves. But if you break down something like the particular ingredients of it, like pure vanilla extract, it's broken down into hydrox and a bunch of other chemical components, such as C8H8O3. Those are that are specific chemical reactions that come together to create pure vanilla extracts. These chemical reactions create the extract. When you break down these chemical reactions, you actually see the molecules behind those. And we don't see those at all now, do we? So, however, now, when you see me here, your brain and your eyes are actually seeing the image of me. You don't actually see me. And even if I was right in front of you, you still see the image that your eyes are projecting on the light spectrum around you that forms the image of me in front of you. You don't actually see me, you see your eyes' vision of me. So this is what Kant's talking about when you actually experience the world around you. You don't actually see the world, you see your experiences of the world. So light and shade and things of that nature that we can parse the differences between inanimate and animate objects and things of that nature. Our mind puts all that data together. This is also, we have to think about something called blind spots, which are small circular areas in the back of our retina where the optic nerve enters the eyeball, which is devoid of rods and cones and is not sensitive to light. That prevents us from seeing everything around us. Now, if we did see everything around us, we would go information. We would go to information overload. We need to be limited in what we can take in because the cascade of unlimited images will overrun our system, if I may. So a lot of the things we do see and the people we see and the events that we see are filled with unconscious beliefs that form the image parameters of what exactly it is I see. So if I see a snake, quickly, especially if it's a venomous snake, my adrenaline may go up, I may stand up. All these different preconceived ideas are already forming inside me at an instant as soon as I see that snake. These are cognitive biases that are created every time I see something by my prior beliefs and system. All these things form how I see reality itself. So when we say that I see truth, or truth can be known directly, it's problematic according to philosophical discourse that I just gave you, because you can't actually see the thing itself. Now this gets very problematic when you start talking about ideas and ideologies and even spiritual realities as well. Let me give you another illustration. Jean Piaget came up with what's called the 4 stages of cognitive development. Piaget was a Swiss psychologist known for his work on the child development theories. He came up with these 4 stages, and I'm not going to go through all the stages here with you, but basically in the first stage, he called it the pre-operational, that's actually the second stage, he called it the pre-operational stage. The first stage is the sensory motor stage when the children start learning and people start learning how their body functions and the difference between hard items and soft and what is sharp and etc. But as they go into the second stage, it's called the pre-operational stage. Children use symbols to represent the world with images and ideas, which is why children in this early stage go into pretend play. At this stage, the child is egocentric. He really believes and thinks that the world does resonate and revolve around him and him alone. Sadly, I know many people who are adults, who are adult children or adult infants, who think the world still revolves around them. At this stage, this ego-centered reality prevents him from experiencing the world as it should be. For example, if he's upset, he throws a fit because he doesn't understand why the entire world around him and why Wall Street does not shut down, because he dropped his ice cream in aisle 3 of his mother's favorite grocery store. He doesn't understand why she's not upset either, because he's unable to distinguish between himself and his beliefs and his desires to the world around him has different ones, and him and his belief systems and desires may actually be wrong, or may actually be not conducive to a proper growth, proper connection with his environment. He sees the world as he sees it, and he sees it as black and white, and as he feels it, and there's nothing more to that. As he begins to develop and see that the world is much more complex than what he thinks it is. One more example, visually too. When we look at another human being, what we see is a body, but we don't see the atoms and the molecules that make up that body. See, the adult human being is made up of 7 octillion different atoms. We couldn't even grasp, or I can't even grasp how many times I've seen people, and I don't even assume that what it is that's making this person the way they are, psychologically, physiologically, spiritually. All these things come into play on a level that I cannot possibly see by first meeting them. I mean, even people I've known for years, I can't possibly see all that behind the scenes. Although there's some truth to what Jesus said, a man is known by his fruit. That's a general biblical principle. So when we see things like water, we don't see H2O, we only see the water. And in a sense, analyzing what we mean by truth, we can see what we think we see or what we experience. So with that said, when Kant talked about we cannot possibly have apodictic necessary certainty, what I mean by apodictic certainty is demonstratable, incontrovertible truths. We cannot possibly have it. This is one of the criticisms against the objective theories of truth. And you just had me give that to you. However, as I said earlier, this particular theory has its problems because it assumes, to be clear on that, it assumes that you can't possibly know what's true in life at all. And that's problematic because there are obvious things we know to be true. Such as, for example, when you smash your head into a wall when you're walking, you know it hurts. It's obviously true. Or when you're in love, you feel that. Or you have a headache. Those are obvious truths. 1 + 1 is 2 is intuitively true. There's a priori truths, and then there are a posteriori truths. Now, a priori truths, philosophically, are truths that we know intuitively without checking with the world around us or analyzing it and doing empirical research. Then there's a posteriori truths. Those are truths that we arrive at by examining the environment around us. By examining that world, we arrive at those truths. Let's take, for example, the Lamborghini, which is one of my favorite cars to analyze. So the fastest Lamborghini, which is a Huracan Evo or Aventador, goes approximately ranges from 2.9 seconds to 0 to 60 miles per hour. Now, this is an a posteriori truth because I can verify that truth using peer-reviewed analytical research on the speed of Lamborghinis. In the same way, I can check whether I'm 5'11", which I am, last I checked, or I'm not. This is an a posteriori truth. However, an a priori truth would be truths I know logically speaking. For example, there are no such thing as married bachelors. That is a logical contradiction. It is impossible for a married bachelor to exist, no matter how much you think so. So these are different types of truths there. In trying to understand the position that Kant is presenting, we need to first recognize that there are different types of truths that he talks about. And certain a priori truths cannot be, as I mentioned earlier in the class, say this is beyond our understanding. So either you are pregnant or you're not pregnant, right? So when we talk about a posteriori truths, we can analyze those independently of our own sense experience by others' sense experiences, other people. And all things being equal, I have a justified epistemological right to believe something. I have exhausted, as much to my experience and knowledge, the evidence for it. For example, if I'm going to choose a particular job, what I'll do is I'll check that position. I'll check how much they pay their employees, what their reviews are, what the IRS says about them, maybe what the Better Business Bureau says about this company. Maybe I'll know personal people who work for them. I'm justified logically in believing that this company may be a good fit for me to apply to. I can't just throw up my hands and say, well, I'll never know the truth of anything. That's just not livable. And you can do that using a posteriori truths. You can also use something called a priori truths that I talked about earlier, using logic to analyze, let's say, spiritual claims. For example, somebody comes to you and says, I believe that there's only one God. And then a few minutes later, they'll tell you they are God. And you'll ask them, please clarify, such as my Mormon friends. Mormons believe, generally speaking, that every man ultimately will be a God, just like God was previously a man. So there's actually only one God, but there are a multiplicity of gods. Well, that's a contradiction. Either there is one God or there is only one God or not one God. It can be both. And of course, Mormons could get around that, saying there's a great God and there's lower gods, etc. But the point being that if I present you a truth and then I contradict that truth, there's a question that needs to be asked for clarification. Either you're telling me something that's false or I don't understand what you're telling me. So those questions help us to weed through the crap or the BS of different metaphysical or religious doctrines. But at the same time, there's a question of trust. There's also a question of logic. There's also a question of history. There's also questions that I need to analyze within my own cognitive nature. So in conclusion, what I'll try to come down to here on the question of truth is that relativism, the theory that there is no truth, is itself clearly false because it contradicts itself. Rational processes help us see the truth of a thing is never exhausted by just what is revealed to us in a single time and space limited frame of reference. Instead, there's a diversity of point of views, even contradictory perspectives that are revealed from different points of view on that particular issue. What makes relativism so appealing is the different angles people have on ideas and events in the world. Take, for example, the great movie that came out a number of years ago called Vantage Point, which talks about the assassination of a president, and it gives it from different points of view. It is really fascinating to see how different points of view, different belief systems, and analogical analyses of the issue come to different conclusions when they see the exact same evidence. So this is what makes relativism, or the view that there's no truth, so popular and so interesting and attractive, because there are different ways we see the world. But it doesn't follow from that logically that there's no one way the world may actually be. Take, for example, a car accident. Now, you may have different people who say it was a red car and a blue car that got to hit. Others will say it was an orange car and a gray one. Others say, no, it was actually a motorcycle and a pickup truck. Different perspectives there. But there are other people who say, wait a minute. I mean, it gets really far outlandish to say, no, I was actually a helicopter and a train. Wait a minute. Are these people seeing the same event? I mean, it really gets crazy after a while. Then you have the fifth person who says there was no accident at all. Now, all these views can't possibly all be true at the same time. They may have different perspectives on the truth, but they're not all true. This is the problem with saying there isn't any truth, but at the same time saying all views are true. I think both of those are problematic. So there's some serious questions and weaknesses of relativism itself. There is objective knowledge of the world. 1 + 1 is 2. Men and women are different. Now, the question is of God. Is God real? That's another question on a spiritual level. And we can get to that in a different time frame and different discussion on that question. But the question itself assumes a posteriori truths about God, because we can't use not a posteriori, but a priori truths about God, because you need to use intuition and logic and evidence at an internal level to analyze a spiritual reality. And we can do that at another time, given your feedback on this. The bottom line is that knowledge is always conditioned by one's viewpoint. That is, it becomes subjective. But that does not mean we cannot know if a bus speeding toward us is actually coming toward us. My recommendation is get out of the way. Otherwise, you're going to be cleaning up your face pie off the concrete. So we started with Jesus and we end with Jesus. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. John 14:6. He made many other statements that he thought were actually true and that his believers he thought would believe they're true. For example, he said, truly, truly, I say to you, unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. John 3:3. Or truly, truly, I say to you that he who believes in me has eternal life. John 6:47. Now, either Jesus is telling the truth or he's not. Is what Jesus said only true from his point of view? It doesn't seem to be the case. If what he said was true from an objective point of view, because he himself claims to be God, where he actually says, I am the Omega, Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end. If this is actually God speaking, then the criticism that we brought up earlier, only if you have an objective God's eye view of the world, which nobody has, you can't possibly have the full truth. Well, Jesus himself claims he does. Jesus himself claims he does have that because he himself is the incarnation of truth itself. So to analyze the question of whether Jesus is telling the truth will lead us into a different discussion. And if you're interested, let me know. I can analyze that. So those are some thoughts about truth itself from a perspective I've been thinking about. I hope it's helpful to you. I appreciate some reviews, maybe a like, sharing on this. That'll help me continue doing what I'm doing as well. So go ahead and give me your thoughts on this, and give me go ahead and subscribe to the. Go ahead, if you enjoyed or if you benefited from this discussion, please subscribe. Click a like to the video here. That would help me to reach more people and give me the encouragement to continue doing this for you. God bless you.